Alright, the International Fight Week powerhouse that was UFC 290 is now in the books. This is one of the rare cards that was great on paper and still found a way to majorly over-deliver. I mean, the prelims ended with Robbie Lawler coming out super aggressive and getting the 38-second knockout over Nico Price, knocking him out cold. I mean, this was the perfect way to end the Hall of Fame career of the all-time great welterweight champion, ruthless Robbie Lawler. And then the pay-per-view got kicked off with Bo Nickel getting the clean KO over Val Woodburn, proving that Bo Nickel is a lot more than just a wrestler. That being said, I would like to see him get in there with better competition. Hopefully his next fight, he gets in there with somebody who can actually put up a little bit more resistance. Dan the Hangman Hooker edging out the decision win over Jalen Turner in a fight that just might end up being the fight of the year. Honestly, one of the best fights that I've ever seen. And oh, by the way, Dan Hooker did it with a broken arm. Or as Dan would say,
just a scratch.
Dricus du Plessis with the huge upset, stopping Robert Whittaker in the second round, which is major, seeing Dricus du Plessis get the stoppage over Robert Whittaker, one of the all-time greats in the middleweight division, setting the stage for a massive main event between Dricus du Plessis and Israel Adesanya. And that is a fight that deserves its own video for its own breakdown, especially with that absolutely insane face-off. In the co-main event, Brandon Moreno and Alex Pantoja had an absolute war, extreme back and forth fight. Another fight that, in all honesty, is probably going to be in the discussion of fight of the year. This fight was super back and forth the whole way through, but ultimately Alex was able to edge out the victory because of control, which honestly is one of the toughest ways to see a fan favorite champion like Brandon Moreno go out. And I guess it always kind of sucks to see someone like Brandon Moreno lose his belt because one guy was able to hold on for a lot longer. That being said, as much as that might kind of suck, it's equally amazing to see a guy like Alex Pantoja get to see his dreams fully realized, finally getting to hold that strap, which is something that the guy has worked his entire life for. And then the main event of the evening, Alexander Volkanovski versus Yair Rodriguez. Taking into consideration Yair's extreme length, the versatility of what he brings, especially on the feet and even on the ground, it's not a stretch to say that Yair is the most dangerous opponent that Alex has had to fight so far. We all know Yair's path to victory was probably going to come by setting up huge head kicks from a distance, hitting Alex where Alex cannot close the gap, or throwing up a slick submission off of his back, or some kind of combination of the two. But then Alex proved again why he's one of the greatest champions in the history of the sport, one of the greatest fighters in the history of the sport, and it's because of his ability to adapt. The guy is extremely well-rounded. You see him here in this fight taking a page out of Islam Makhachev's book, getting out of that kicking range distance where Yair has the biggest opportunity to capitalize, forcing himself on the inside, taking Yair to the ground, and then the non-stop ground and pound, and then to finish it off, the huge right hand that wobbled Yair, and then Alex is able to secure the TKO victory. After this, Alex Volkanovski now has 6 wins in title fights in their featherweight division. He's only 2 away from Jose Aldo's record. When you take into consideration the level of competition Alex has been fighting and the performances that he's put on in these fights, I don't think it's a stretch at all to say that Alex right now is probably the greatest featherweight fighter of all time. And this past weekend we found out that Charles Oliveira says that he's not going to be ready in time to fight Islam Makhachev in October, so we're probably going to get a rematch of one of the most competitive fights that I've ever seen in Alex Volkanovski versus Islam Makhachev. And if Alex is able to pull that one off, given how close the first fight was and the fact that he's been undefeated in the UFC up until that last fight, a win here in my book just might make Alex the greatest of all time. With the last fight happening in Australia in Alex Volkanovski's backyard, this time in Abu Dhabi, Alex is going to try to do the impossible in enemy territory, and I just can't wait. Thanks for watching.